Hi, Carrie.
Hello. Do we know who's going to run this since Matt's out, I believe, still?
Gonna wait a few minutes, see if anyone else is joining today. Might be a good call.
Yeah, what do you think? Maybe 5 after, 10 after?
Easy.
Hello.
Let's try the link to the agenda in the chat here. So if there's anything you want to add in there before we start. Let's give it a few more minutes. Hopefully we can get a few more people to join.
Check. Check.
We can hear you, Kay.
It's always a little sketchy on mobile whether it's working or not.
Hey, easy. Gary, can you
Yep, check, check.
check? Awesome. Yeah, I can hear you now. I think it was
Okay. Speakers make all the difference, right?
and they do. Apparently, you need to turn them on. Yeah, I pressed I pressed one of the function keys, and apparently it was on the. It wasn't as a function key. I must have turned off my audio. So my bad. Sorry about that. Glad we all got it working though. Yeah, sorry, Gary. You said you had some questions before we start. Did you have something in the contributor?
No, it was really just about how long we would wait for people to show up before we kicked off. And I think yeah, we're probably at that time limit, I'm guessing.
I normally wait till about 5 past. By that stage, everyone who's kind of turned up is usually turned up. So I think we can start. All right, I'm just going to share the screen and get started then. Hopefully you can all see this. Let's bring this up later. Okay, start with the housekeeping. So the antitrust policy, have a read of that if you haven't seen it before. Just a reminder, this has been recorded. You would have seen that when you joined, that this has already started recording. Stay on mute unless you're speaking, although they're a small group, so I don't think that we could probably just have a discussion with ourselves easily enough. And yeah, you can use the raise hands, but also being a small group, I don't think it's too much of an issue. So yeah, let's get started. So there's not much on the agenda here. Doesn't look like we've got anything for general announcements, but did anyone have anything they wanted to bring up under general announcements? Did you have anything, Easy or Gary, that you want to talk about on general announcements?
See you all at DevConnect, perhaps?
Yes, that's a good point, actually. I'll put that in there. So I'll just put it like a few of us extending DevConnect. I guess Discord.
Last I heard, I believe Dano is going to be attending, and Navi Chan, who has done some of the work on 6110, is going to be showing up. So
right,
there'll be some basic contributors at DevConnect, as far as I know. We'll have to get together one evening at least.
Yeah,
if
that'd
not
be
do
good.
a workshop.
Yeah, definitely. We should probably put. I mean, some people might see this, but a lot of people in the other time zones that may not necessarily look at these notes. I think we should probably just put something on the community thing and say, hey, we're going to be there, and come say hello if you want to, and we can. Yeah, like you said, we can we can catch up or even talk about basic stuff. We probably will anyway. Oh yeah, thanks for reminding. That's a good one. Is there anything particular we're doing? We want to say about what we're doing at DevConnect? Is anything basic specific, or I think most of us are just joining individual talks and discussions. I don't think we're doing anything officially basic related at DevConnect that I know of.
Yeah, not anymore. We did have a workshop that we were going to do, but I think I think we're going to cancel that. There's just not enough people in attendance for that.
Yeah, that was my understanding too. Long as yeah, we don't have so many people attending right now. So yeah. All right. Just leave it at that then, I guess. Next up, we got release and updates. I noticed that we haven't done a burn-in for the next release, the 23.10.2. So I think it's probably been just over 2 weeks or so since we did the 23.10.1. So we must be due for that. I haven't checked exactly when that's happening. I don't know if you've heard anything, Gary, when we're planning to do the next point release.
I have not.
Okay. I guess yeah, I should throw a question on the releases channel, see what people are thinking we should do, or maybe we just want to leave until after DevConnect too, because a lot of us will probably some of us. Sorry, I guess not everyone's attending, are they? So people who are can probably take care of this. But for those who are, it will be a bit difficult to follow on and check on. Yeah, Okay, we'll just throw something up in the releases channel on that. I don't know if there's anything pressing to be released at the moment that I've heard of. Yeah, oh, I'll just put a note to
Yeah, I'm not really aware of anything that's super pressing to release right now. I think the Snap server stuff isn't quite.
yeah, actually, that's a nice segue you got there, Gary. Snakes, do you want to give an update on the SnapSync server? How that's going?
It might be an opportune time to cut that release if we don't have a lot of change. I was talking to Justin earlier today, and I believe
Yeah.
we're fairly stable.
Okay. So yeah, while we're nice and stable, before we bring in more big changes, it could be a good time to it. So we can just put that in basis. Is anything on the work? Has anyone got any work updates they want to talk about? You mentioned you got the SnapSync server stuff you're working on, Gary. Did you want to talk about that or?
Sure. Yeah. It's coming along pretty well. We're syncing
Sorry. I think you might have cut out, or maybe it's something on my end. I'm not sure.
But
Oh, yeah.
TLDR, Besu to Besu is syncing effectively with SnapSync, with the SnapSync
Right.
server. But Nethermind, both Nethermind and Geth are proving difficult. There's just a couple of things that are, I think, peering related that might have something to do with their expectations about what ranges and limits Snap server is kind of implementing. So we just kind of need to feel around a bit in the dark, because I think that the clients only implemented against the Geth implementation and the Besu implementation, even though it's to spec, is the spec is a little bit loose with regard to these requirements. So it's getting close. I think once we have Geth syncing from Besu, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap the PR and have it ready for review. I think icing on the cake would be if Nethermind is syncing with Besu just as well. So that's the goal for this near term for that.
Okay. Hopefully that makes sense what I got there. I can get rid of that. It's a bit redundant. So yeah, so Besu to Besu is working, but you're trying to work on getting the Geth Besu SnapSync server working.
Yeah, Geth Besu and Nethermind Besu, because both of those two clients implement Snap as a client.
Right. Okay. Great. That's good. Thanks. Thanks for that. Any other work updates anyone had?
It might be wise to speak about the upcoming database format changes and migrations. Like,
Yes.
I hope my mic is all right for this, but the work that you're doing for saving code by hash as opposed to account hash and Bonsai, and then also we'll be defaulting Besu to storing a complete flat account database, so that we can it's one of the requirements for Snap servers to have a complete flat database. So that default is going to change. There's just a few storage tweaks and probably some stories that will be forthcoming regarding like subcommands to do migrations. Maybe you want to talk about the code.
Yeah, we've got a few there actually, and I was trying to think of the other one. So there was also the trilog. What do we called it in the end? Someone's working on the
Trilog pruning.
Trilog pruning. Actually, it's not really a database change, is it? We're not changing the format on that, so that probably doesn't belong in this section. So yeah, let me just start with what I can remember so far. We've got the list here, which was the storing the code, code by code hash. So this is very much related to the feature that Gary's working on. So essentially, at the moment, we're storing the code by, it's actually been a little while. Is it by address? I think at the moment.
Yeah, it's by account hash.
Account count hash. That's it. Yes, instead of a count hash. Sorry, it's been a little while since I looked at this. A few weeks. I'm already forgetting. So we were storing by account hash, which is fine. That works. But we want to change the way the code the code is stored to store it by code hash instead. And the reason for that is so that we can serve SnapSync server requests essentially, because we require that to implement Snap Server at the moment. So those are the changes I'm working on. It also has a benefit in reducing the storage size for the code for the bytes we store for code hash. Sorry, the code, because there can be duplicate contracts deployed with the same code, and we only need to store them once if we refer them by code hash instead of account hash. So, and I did find there were some improvements with that. So that is an upcoming change. What we're working through in the moment is there is a complication with the self-destruct as well, and whether we're going to and how we're going to handle that. Anyway, so I'm working through that. So that would be an upcoming change, and if to deal with this, I will probably need to add a migration subcommand that would allow people to migrate their existing Besu database to the new database that stores it by a hash instead. So that's my current plans at the moment, is to add a subcommand for doing that. Yeah, so I'll have that. I should have hopefully get a PR again soon. I'm doing some more testing on this to see if the approach works well before go much further with this. And you also were talking about some database changes as well, Gary. So I think it was Bonsai Archive you were talking about, if I remember correctly.
Actually, it's the fully flattened database. It's a feature that Kareem has had in main for at least a couple of releases. It's still marked as experimental though, because of the way it affects the sync process.
Okay.
But I think we've got enough confidence in that we want to make it the default. So that's going to be, there'll be probably a story. This is still a work in progress. It's not going to make it in this next release, but there'll be a story and probably a subcommand that you can do a migration. So you can take a partially flattened database and make it a fully flattened database, and that will just make Besu a lot faster and also able to serve SnapSync data. So that's an upcoming change that should allow us a lot more. Both the Snap server code by hash and the fully flattened database will allow us to transition to Bonsai as our primary storage mechanism, and we can kind of move Forest to being a kind of a legacy format. If we want to maintain that in main, we'd probably treat it as a legacy format.
Okay. Yeah, so you're saying that we'll be able to after these sorry, I just finished my thought there. So after these changes, and I guess along with SnapSync server, we'll be able to move to Bonsai as being the default storage. Is that what you're saying? Sorry.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, Bonsai can fast sync also, but I think that if Besu is able to serve SnapSync, and we have a fully flattened database that's more performant, I think that those are the kind of the stumbling blocks that have been preventing us from making Bonsai the primary storage mechanism. So with those changes, we should be able to basically deprecate Forest and move to Bonsai by default.
Yeah. Has there been any discussion on what to do with the private networks and what testing do we need to make changes on to support QPFT, I guess, and IBFT with bonsai. Oh,
Yeah, I think Matt has started those conversations, like not
Okay.
only what we need to do to support those consensus mechanisms, but also what private and consortium chains might have a reliance on forest that we're just not aware of. So I don't have a lot of detail on that. He's kind of running that show right now, but he's out obviously. So hopefully more on that next call.
yeah. So, okay, which Matt was that? That was okay.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yep, Matt Nelson. Since we have two
Matt
Matts
Nelson.
now.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I was just wondering because they both Matt Whitehead is also very interested in the private networking space, obviously. Yeah, awesome. Thanks for that. That's really good. Yeah, so it looks like we're inching closer, or probably more than inching. Actually, I think we're actually getting pretty close, quite close, to be able to move over to bonsai as a primary storage. That'd be excellent. Izzy, did you have anything you want to add in for work updates?
No, like the only bit that like me and Simon sort of working on is the testing of the blob DB, or completely like frozen now. The trilog saving as blob DB. So yeah, so
Okay.
that is still, we are experimenting with that. So once that is ready, then we can update probably in a future call.
Okay, so it's investigation on the
Trilog, saving trilog
using-
as blob DB.
Yep. So
As a blob column. Yeah.
Yes. So we
yeah,
actually
so that
like,
has some benefits,
yeah. So initial, we tested it as a PR and ran few canaries. So far so good. Like no change as far as the functionality goes. Like things are still syncing fine and everything. So this the only thing that we are like we need to test out is the pruning effects and the discretes and any of the read performances effects with it.
So
We have the blob column changes and the fully flattened database changes and the code by hash changes. They're all kind of going to be ready right around the same time, and some of them are interrelated. Maybe what we should do, instead of writing a bunch of individual subcommands to do one-off migrations, we should try to deliver this as a single story, single user experience that migrates to the latest storage format, so to speak. And that way we don't end up with the proliferation of a bunch of different subcommands that are just kind of niche.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
We could actually, since all of us will be at DevConnect, maybe we could brainstorm about that at DevConnect, getting that UX feature together.
Yes, we were actually considering that as well. That it would be nice to have one to what users to just run one command and get those benefits. Yeah. So, I think that's a really good idea. We'll have to look at how we're going to do that. And I think the story around versioning and bonsai is a tricky one too. I don't think we have that. I think we have versioning for databases in general, but everything in bonsai is under V2. And we have no way of just kind of go from, there's been several versions of bonsai realistically at this point, but we have no nice way of dealing with that to kind of just say, upgrade me to the new version with all these features right now. And then we've got all these leftover columns as well. So yeah, that could be a topic for us actually. That how to do all that. Yeah, that's good. I'm not sure what else to add in there. The only thing I mostly been working on this one here, storage by code hash, and I've been fixing some bugs I found related to that as well. Okay, I think that might be it for the work updates. Unless, was there anything else, sorry, before we move on?
No, all good for me.
Okay, great. All right,
Yep.
that's good. Simon's got this one here. I think it's just more of a FYI. It was in the last call, the debug proposal was accepted. We'd also mentioned it on this call previously as well. It's been around for a while now, and hasn't been any counter proposals to that. So Simon's might just accept it and change the coding conventions. And I think he's planning to add PRs when he has a chance to do that. And I guess other people can do that as well now that these coding conventions have been updated. Can I go to this? Yeah, right. See what he's added here. I'll see what the changes were. I think it was under debug. I think it was just refining this list here. I think we just had about what we got under here and under the guidelines. I think it's mostly that, and about what we're actually going to log for each level here. So yes, this will be good. We can clean up the basic logs a little bit more, make it a little cleaner, which will be nice. That's everything we've got on the agenda. Is there anything else anyone wants to bring up?
I think that's it for me. We can keep it short.
Yeah, okay, no problem. Looks like we're done. And yeah, if anyone wants to say hello at Dev Connect, a few of us are going to be there. I think everyone on this call is actually going to be there. Gary, myself, and Easy. And there's a few other people, like you said. I think Dano and Novachan is going to be there. I'm not sure who else. We'll have to.
I think Stefan, I believe, also.
Stefan, that's right. Yes,
Yeah,
Stefan. So there's a few of us from Basu there, so you'll probably see us in the in some of the events there, and probably at the co-working space as well, if you're around. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Sunday.
All right.
Thanks.
Yeah. See you then. Bye.
Right. Bye.
Yeah.